Is the current U.S. military socialism? In a way it is, and in a way it's not. Socialism has a particular definition, and it is in this one area of government, it really isn't so much socialist because you're not providing for the people, you're protecting the people. So it has harms. Don't get me wrong. There is harms in part of it, and proposing a solution to that harm. So it is more of a general government good service that protects our government and the ability for our country to exist and not be taken over by foreign foes. However, it currently suffers from the one buyer problem. So the military, the Pentagon buys weapon systems, hires personnel. It has congressmen that want to be reelected, so they want to get people, get weapon systems built in their district and things like that, bases in their district. Whether employees directly through the military, civil service military, whether contracts with big corporations like Boeing or the other big military contractors, or it buys products from people. So you have contracts buying products or employees something directly. There's not. It's a one buyer problem, which is commonly known in the economics field as not being the best. So how can we solve that problem? The one buyer problem creates greater incentive for corruption because there's a one buyer problem and lacks sufficient competition. So one buyer means it doesn't, you don't have more than one place to sell your product to. So if they don't like you, you don't have another way of trying to get your product out to the market because it's not the same type of market where you have a lot of buyers. Congressional input means priority for the state or district jobs over the most efficient and effective weapon systems. So congressmen want the weapon system built in theirs, their district. So they don't want that weapon system closed down, that factory closed down, or a base closed down because it brings jobs and money to the district from the federal government. So they look at that more than the effectiveness and productivity of what the military needs, the military capabilities. So they have perverse incentives. Congressional donations are enhanced when defense contractors make more money. So it's a common thing to understand that when defense contractors make more money, they can give more donations. So do they really want to get the best price? Because, again, more political donations. Voters are more likely to vote for politicians when the contract is more lucrative. If they are getting $100,000 versus $80,000 for a contract for their job, a contract brings in jobs, and the contract, if it's lowballed, it might bring in $80,000 salaries versus $100,000 salaries. Who's going to be happier? If you have $100,000, you're going to vote for that politician more. So they don't have that incentive. There's perverse incentives. You might want to get the best item for best weapon system for the money, but when it comes down to it, you want also to have satisfied voters, satisfied with their jobs. So that is significant. So there's perverse incentives. There's incentives on both sides, but you don't want that to be there. The competitive military idea allows about 50 huge military contractors to compete for the military budget. There will be a system to set up to say what percentage of the military capabilities each military contractor has. So let's say there's 50 of them, average is 2% each. Some will be more like 3 or 4, 5 or 6%. Some will be, a whole bunch will be in the 1 to 1.5%. My system sets it up as at least 1%, no more than 10%. So there'll be somewhere in the 7, 8, 9%, but a whole bunch in the 1, 1.5, 2% range. I'm saying 50. It could be any number between 11 to 99, I guess, if you looked at between 1 and 10% of the full military budget. So we're talking the military budget somewhere around the $1 trillion mark. I know it's probably $700 or $800 billion has been, but they're inching way up to that $1 trillion mark. And I think they want 1.3, $1.4 trillion, which might be a good idea. But can we get better systems when competition allows military contractors to compete for that? So there will be a full system to manage the capability. The military capability system is a representative body that allows the military to determine how much of that how much military capabilities is that corporation bringing to us. So if you're bringing a whole bunch of muskets and little swords or whatever, we don't fight with those anymore. They're not going to get so much of the military budget. You bring high-tech weapon systems that can disrupt the enemy and do what we need to do from 50 miles away, 100 miles away versus needing to be right on top of somebody. Yeah, they're going to look at those things differently, obviously. Obviously, those are extremes. So there will be a full system for that. And I've talked in many videos around that area. Yes, there can only be a dozen of ways. Yeah, there are dozens of ways this can be abused. But if we set it up right, we can curtail almost all of those abuses, and then even have more systems to curtail it even more. Literally thousands of inputs would be part of this process. So no one person can say, I'm approving that weapon system and they're going to get 2.2% or something. No, there'll be thousands of inputs from many areas. Many different representative bodies. There'll be representative bodies, each from different perspectives. So competitive military in this means you pick your representative based on how you want the military capability system to be run. And there'll be roughly 12 of those. So you're going to have 12 different systems, 12 different inputs from different wide variety of perspectives. Sorry. A lot more to see at Haley2024.org. Until the next video.